Look at this. This is a bronze bust of Abraham Lincoln. Speaking of Lincoln,
Speaking of Lincoln.
Chris has a story relating to the Civil War. What happened?
So, last Thursday, I jumped in the car, went down to Richmond, 3 hours.
After looking in the Washington Post and
on
saw this.
Tuesday, and I saw that Thursday they're doing a casting call for extras to be orderlies and nurses and emaciated people, and they did an extra call for skinny people. They said very thin people with no tattoos.
You fit
So I
that.
said, check.
Yeah.
So I got in the car, drove 3 hours.
Beautiful weather.
It was beautiful weather. Get there, it was like a strip mall,
What time did you get there?
empty building. I left around noon. I got there probably around 3:30.
Okay.
Got in line at 4. There were already about 50 people ahead of me, and people were coming in all through the day.
Different genders or just mostly men?
I assumed they were going to be skinny, white, emaciated Andersonville-looking people, but
So these are men. Okay.
They were all races and colors and
And
creeds
there were women there too.
Yeah, holding their headshots, and trying to be professional. I guess there
Yeah.
are people that do this. They get on the web and they
Yeah,
find
sure.
out we're
Of
casting
course.
crap.
Yeah.
So I'm down there, standing in line. There's 3 other people in front of me who are like tall with long hair, and I told the lady as she's measuring me, getting my I don't know, hat size, shoe size. I said, look, Lincoln was 6'4", so I should fit right in if you're
Right.
going to film me. And if I'm a patient, I'll be on the bed. So. And
But these other guys standing next to you, weren't they also 6'4"?
yeah, they're taller than me probably.
They could make the same case for
But they're all
themselves.
little wiry, kind of Richmond-y folks. Because they put a casting call, I think it said locals only. They don't want people flying from Alaska.
Right. So they had crystal meth written all over them. Whereas you were just naturally thin.
Some people still showing up with tattoos because they're like, why the hell not?
Yeah, why the hell not?
So I'm holding a placard, turn this way, turn this way. The guy said, let me see some of the hair. So I turn, and then he says, did you get a pass from the union? And I should have just said yes. But instead I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I just showed up, and here's my snapshot. And he takes it, puts it in a pile. Very unceremoniously, they take it and they just drop it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that
that's
doesn't look
what-
very official.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for a call back. They're saying, yeah, we're going to shoot from Monday to Friday,
Starting when?
starting in April 20th
Oh,
to June.
right.
PBS series, Mercy House, takes place in a Civil War hospital in Northern Virginia.
During the war?
But they're filming in Richmond. Yes,
During the
I
war?
guess during the war.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting. I told my mom, and she surprisingly was in a mellow mood. I said, I'm going
Yeah.
down to Richmond if you have to call me. I'm going to try out for this little $300 a day role.
Right.
And I said, Mom, if I have to close the shop for a month and only work Saturday and Sunday, then I'm going to do that. I'll just tell customers I'm closed for the week. And if I
Right.
make $300 a day, that'll pay for a hotel,
Right.
so I don't have to drive back and forth.
Right.
But how fascinating. If I'm going to look like a Confederate, I might as well start acting like a Confederate.
Yeah.
Thought I'd try it out. Still waiting for a call back.
What was your feeling?
My feeling was like I had just as good chance as anyone there, if not better.
Really?
But I
Okay.
don't know if I answered the question correctly about if I'm a union member.
Ah,
Unions. So,
right. So in other words, if some of these people were in unions and you're not, they might get the nod.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If
Yeah.
people had passes from the union to do that, they might choose them before me.
Right.
'Cause
You could always
I'm
call
a
them and ask them.
I'm a freelancer.
You could always call them and
I'm a
ask them.
scab. I'm breaking the union lines.
Well, you don't know. You could call them and ask them, how are my chances considering I'm not a union member?
But it'd be fascinating if I get a call back. It only was a week ago. I don't know how long it takes them to look at headshots,
Yeah,
to look for extras.
right.
They already did my measurements,
Yeah.
so they know what size outfits I need to make. They
Right.
make for me. But
Right.
it'll be interesting if I put a sign up saying, "Gone to lunch for the month of April."
And I used to be getting ahead of yourself a little, but were they going to let you know whether you get it or not?
Well, they asked for a snapshot, email, and a phone number.
But will they let you know if you didn't get it?
I
Or
wrote.
will they just not let you know anything?
They said write on the back your questions. So I wrote on the back saying I have a.
What is the
small-
meaning of life?
I have a small family business.
Right,
It would be nice to know the exact hours you might need me.
right.
And then I left it open.
That's
And
very
I put
good.
A,
That's
I put
great.
I put a little heart on the. No. Yeah.
Excellent. That's very good. So
So
you're
it'll be
you're
interesting.
you're still alive.
Yeah, and it was great to just get. Who would have guessed that you could drive 3 hours to Richmond, spend 40 minutes there, and then drive back 3 hours?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You
this-
did it on kind of an impulse.
I'm sure this is something Krulik has to do all the time.
Sure, and he knows about the union thing. You know, Jeff probably when he sees this already can figure out what your chances are and stuff. and he lets you know in an email how these things work.
I'm like, if they need an emaciated-looking, Confederate-looking guy, why wouldn't they choose me?
You're right. I mean, I don't know what these other guys look like. I'm assuming they weren't as handsome as
They're
you.
not as pretty,
Yeah,
but they were.
that might work in your favor.
Maybe.
And maybe they can use you in other things. But then, here's another thing. I don't know how this works, but maybe you should think about joining the union. Get that equity card. I don't know how hard that is.
Or this might be the chance that I can bust the union and say, if I don't want to join a union, I have a
No,
right to work.
I think that's not the right
The
attitude,
right
Chris.
to work
Yes.
politics.
Right.
I don't have to join a union.
I don't think they're really looking for a lecture on unions. You probably should think about how can you join a union. But to join the union, you might have to have some presentation that I did something, right?
Yes.
So hopefully if you get this, maybe you can join the union, pay a few dollars of dues a year, and then you're in the union.
Yeah.
You'd show up for a lot of auditions.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So it was interesting to get out of Framart and just drive 3 hours,
Yeah.
get on the road.
And your mother understood.
She understood. She was all cool. She's like, all right, let me know if you get something.
That's very good. Great story. Thank you. I'm going to zoom in to Mr. Lincoln. Focus.
Focus.